Hello everybody, I'm Hannah and welcome to Bookshelvish. Today we're going to be talking about every single book I read in the month of May, which I gotta tell you, this was my heaviest reading month that I've ever had in my whole life, ever. So this is going to be kind of a long wrap up, I imagine, so strap in and let's get into it. If you've been to one of my wrap-ups before, you know that usually how we start is by discussing my stats. Sorry, by the way, I got this new shampoo, which is like very exfoliating, but it's making hair that already fell out of my head like actually come out like off my head. I don't know that makes sense. That's fine. We're gonna leave that where it is and jump straight into stats. So, as I said, I read 26 books. This is the equivalent of over 11,000 pages, which is a lot for me, very much. I try to shoot to read like 17 books a month. That'll get me to my 200 book goal at the end of the year. However, I usually don't even end up reading 17 books. Really, I feel like I've gotten into my groove the last couple of months, and I really think it's because I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks while I read the physical book, so I feel like I get less distracted. I'm going through it pretty quickly, and I can listen to the audio much faster because I have the words in front of me, so it's easier to follow along. So I've been listening to books at like 3x. Honestly, I think is slower than I typically read like in print, but I'm not getting distracted as much, so it kind of evens out. Like I feel like I'm doing less while I'm reading, my mind's not wandering as much. It's great. But anyway, highly recommend, I guess. May was also one of like the busiest months I've had so far this year, so it's not even that I had more time to read, because I really didn't. I think I was just reading more efficiently. I guess the other difference would be that I didn't have a Game of Thrones book in the month of May. I have a Dance of Dragons coming up. That'll be probably this month as I'm filming this in June, and those books are so long. I also didn't have an Outlander book this month, which took a lot of time the last month or two. Anyway, yeah, 26 books was what I was trying to say. My moods are mostly emotional with 19 books, adventurous with 17 books, mysterious with 9 books, tense and dark with 8 each, hopeful and funny with 4 each, lighthearted with 3, and reflective with 1. I honestly don't feel like anything I read is that reflective, so I wonder what that one's talking about. It says my favorite book of the whole month was qualifying as reflective, so that's interesting. I guess it did have a reflective element. Do you like how I completely just changed my pace? Speaking of pace, I had 8% slow, 77% medium, and 15% fast. I feel like I'm usually a mostly medium to fast-paced girl. Page number, I had 12% under 300 pages, 58% from 300 to 499, and 31% 500 plus, and 100% fiction. I've really fallen off. I wanted to read one nonfiction book a month, and I really have not done that at all. So that's good. Next up, we've got genres. Top of the list, as always, are romance and fantasy with 18 each. Young adult, I had 9. Historical, I had 7. Contemporary, 6. Magical realism, 2. I don't know why magical realism keeps getting up there, because I don't enjoy magical realism, but I think I'm still reading it, which is my fault. And I think I know the 2, these top ones here. I'll give you a little sneak peek. I feel like spoiling 2 books out of 26 is not going to ruin your experience. So that was The 10,000 Doors of January and A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. I love both of these authors, maybe less Alexi Harrow, because I really haven't been having a lot of success with her, but Ashley Poston, loved every book except that one. And then 1 each of LGBTQIA plus short stories, mystery, and literary. Short stories, oh, I forgot I read a collection of novellas. Technically 2. Star ratings. We got 4 5-star reads, 4 5-star reads. Is that what I said? It might have been 4 5-star reads, 9 4-star reads, 10 3-star reads, and 3 2-star reads. So that's 13 that were 3 and under, 14 that were 4 or over. So I guess that's not terrible. My average rating was 3.54. I also don't ever rate with half stars. I only use whole stars, and I think a lot of people dislike that decision that I made for myself. I don't care, because as I just said, I made that decision for myself. Get on board, guys. The reason I used to use half stars as ratings, and I just kind of felt like it's not really that serious. 5 means I absolutely loved it. I feel like I have a lot less 5 stars now than I used to, because I'm a little bit more picky about my 5 stars. But if it's a 3 or 4 star, it's just a vibe. It was probably a 3 if I didn't really love it. If I feel comfortable giving the book away, it was probably a 3 star. It's a 4 star if I really liked it, think I might reread it again, think the book's really pretty. Sometimes books I feel like end up getting 4 stars that maybe would have been down to the 3.5 range if I liked the author, the cover, had fun, whatever it might be. I feel like ratings aren't that serious. So half stars, what does that mean? If someone rates something in 3.5 versus a 4, am I like not gonna pick it up if it's a 3.5, but I will for the 4? Like I don't think it matters. Anyway, that's why I don't do those anymore. I think that's it. This is obviously not a stat that's involved in Storygraph, but in case you were wondering, I had 26 reads on here. Of those, I owned 24 of them. I got both of the like novella collections that I read from Libby, but it was for a series that I do own. And then I had 2 different editions of a couple of the books in here. One of those I've already put on Pango and it's sold already. That was Vesselist. We'll get to that. And then another one, I gave like 3 stars to this book and we'll get to it. One of my best friends, Maddie, absolutely loved it. And I was like, I have 2 editions and I think you want my Fairyloot edition. So I sent it to her. And I just shipped those this morning. I used to be very bad about shipping things and I've gotten much better. Not because I've gotten better, but because I now make my husband ship everything. Pro tip, if you don't like doing something, just make your spouse do it. What was I talking about? Oh, the other stat that this doesn't say. So I also track how many books I gained for the month. And this month I got 12 new books. Most of these were from Bookish subscriptions. And one of them, which was Metal Slinger, I've already read. So I only added 11 books to the TBR. And of those, I think all of these are special editions, except I got Broken Dove and then the Ballad of Falling Dragons from a Barnes & Noble trip. My husband and I like to make poor decisions by going wine tasting at like a bunch of our wineries. And then we go to Barnes & Noble afterwards when we're like a little tipsy. And usually I go ham during those trips. But I only got 2 books, which I was very proud of myself for because I really am trying to lower my TBR. And as part of that, I went through all my books and I got rid of a bunch of ones that I don't care about. That's why you see a lot of these gaps on my shelves. And I did list them all on Pango. I have like 80 books listed on there. I'd never been a Pango girl before. If you want any of those books or you want to take a look and see, you can check it out. And if you think that the price is way too high, I'll probably sell it to you for less. So go take a look if you want. I'll put the link in. I need to like redo my YouTube links, but I'll put the link down in the description. Let's get into the actual books because that's what you're here for. And I've now yapped for, I doubt it'll be 10 minutes by the time you're watching this and I've edited it down, but it has been 11 minutes on my end. So let us jump in. So I'm not doing these in order because the stack is so tall that I am not gonna move it around. So we'll just start at the top, which is, as I already spoiled, The 10,000 Doors of January. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I liked this one. I wasn't crazy about it. As I have said already, I am not a huge fan of magical realism, and basically this whole book was magical realism. Read The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow last month or maybe the month before, and I was also disappointed by that one, so I think maybe Alex E. Harrow just isn't the author for me, but I really love her writing, so that makes me sad. I read The Starling House a few years ago by her, and I loved that one, so I'm kind of just bummed these books haven't been working for me. This felt very like The Unmaking of June Farrow meets The Little Princess with vampires. I really wanted to be obsessed with this one, but I think it's because of me that I'm just a tough customer with magical realism. And I'm kind of upset for all the people that told me I would love this, as if they like don't know that I don't usually love magical realism, but that's fine. This is a book that will be going on my Pango, so if you want it, you can go grab it. Next up, we've got A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, another magical realism book, which did not work for me. FMC really likes this author. This author passes away, and the FMC kind of finds herself in this like town that is basically like the real life existence of the town that all of the author's characters live in. And so she's trying to figure out who everybody is and who she's supposed to be. And there's this one guy that she doesn't know from any of the books. And she's like, who is this person? The entire book. Like literary Gilmore Girls, basically. It was cute. Again, wasn't crazy about it. I think it's more of a me thing with the magical realism, although I know this is like widely considered her worst book, which it definitely is for me. I am a huge Dead Romantics fan, like but don't love 7 Year Slip, which is also unpopular, so take that with a grain of salt. This is a perfectly fine book. It just wasn't my favorite from her. Also going on my Pango, so if you want that one, snap it up. All right, next up, we have got, I think, my longest book. Yes, definitely my longest book of the month. This is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. This is the second book in the Farseer trilogy and the second book also in the overall Realm of the Elderling saga, which is 16 books long, so I have a lot more to look forward to. I really enjoyed this book. I think Robin Hobb's character work is excellent. I loved the like pacing, the plot in this one, getting to know Fitz better, getting to see him kind of integrate himself more with a lot of different characters in this one. I hate Regal. Regal sucks. He can go trip off a cliff. I cannot stand him. Night Eyes. I am obsessed with Fitz and Night Eyes. Obsessed. And I'm very excited to see where this series goes. I have the third and final book in the Farseer trilogy on hold from Libby right now. So I'm hoping to get to, what's the last one called? Assassins, whatever the third book is called. I should look it up. Oh, I can see it from here on my TBR shelf. Assassin's Quest. Assassin's Quest. I have that checked out. So I am hoping to read Assassin's Quest in June. Yes, I love this one. I ended up giving it 4 stars and not 5. I think it just didn't hit that 5-star feeling for me, but I still really enjoyed it. I just don't want to give 5 stars out for the heck of it. So if you love kind of like a slower pace, lots of character development, lots of quiet, but like really, I would say enchanting fantasy, you should go for this one. This one will not be in my Pango, so if you want it, you better go find it somewhere else. All right, I'm gonna talk about these next 2 together just to save time a little bit because I don't really think we need to talk about them that long. These are 2 Booksta darlings, I feel like, in the sense that like if you were around Book Talk, Bookstagram, BookTube in like the 2019 to like 2022 era, I feel like you had to have read these books if you liked romance. So we've got Twisted Hate and Twisted Lies, both by Anna Huang. I just have to be so honest with you guys. I think this is not the series for me. Twisted Games, I think. Whatever the second one was with The Bodyguard with Bridget and Reese, that was my favorite. I heard a lot of people tell me that like I was not gonna like Twisted Hate. I went into Twisted Hate very much expecting to have a lot of hate for it. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I don't think it was the worst book ever written, but like it was definitely on the short list. I was not impressed by this one. I feel like a lot of people say that like Josh is such a like dreamy book boyfriend. No, he's not. Have you met him? Did you read this? I feel like he was just mean all the time. So anyway, don't read this book. Jules' entire personality was just that she had boobs. And I'm like, I also have boobs and don't make that my personality. I don't know. It wasn't for me. So that was Twisted Hate. I can't even remember the titles of these. You know why? Because the titles don't make sense. Do you know how many games they played in Twisted Games? Do you know how many? Well, this is actually appropriately named Twisted Hate because I hate it. Twisted Lies, I don't know that there was a lot of lies in this one either. This one was better than Twisted Hate. This is with Stella and Christian, and it was just okay. I feel like this is a lot of people's favorites in the series, and I was just not impressed. I think if I had maybe read it earlier on in my adult reading journey, that I probably would have appreciated them more, but I didn't, and I don't. Keeping both of these for now, but I suspect the entire series will end up on my Pango at some point, just not yet. Stay tuned. Next up, we have, this is Her Hidden Fire by Cleena O'Sullivan. If you're thinking that's not pronounced Cleena, yes it is. I'm learning Irish on Duolingo, so obviously a very respected source on Irish pronunciations. Also I watched a YouTube video to see how to pronounce it. So due to my grassroots research, I understand these things. This one I had a really hard time rating. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I think it was objectively a very good story. It had an interesting world. The magic system I feel like was really built out. The plot felt well paced. It wasn't like boring. My biggest issue was that I didn't like the FMC, and you kind of had a love triangle situation, but not really, because one of the people was vastly better than the other option, like vastly better. There was a very, I would say, like icky aspect of the magic system that I did not like, which had sort of like human trafficking, slavery sort of undertones, and I was not a fan of it, and I feel like it took me out of the story every single time that it came up. I'm like interested in reading on because it also had a dragon element that I really enjoyed, and I did think the whole thing was interesting and unique, and you don't read a lot of like Irish mythology based books. I am the most genetically Irish person that I know. My 23andMe told me I'm 99.7% Irish. The other 0.3% is Danish. So basically I'm just extremely white. So I did feel like I was swept away by this in a way that I like might not have been if I wasn't already very obsessed with Irish, just like culture and mythology. I would be intrigued to read on, but again, not a fan of these characters at all. So that was a bummer. That's Her Hidden Fire by Cleena O'Sullivan. I'm also not getting rid of this book despite not loving it too much because I really like this edition and I am considering going on in the series, so someday I may get rid of it. Next up, we have Direbound by Sable Sorensen. I am very much behind on the train for when to read this. It was very popular when it first came out last year. I never got around to it, and now Furybound's out, so I feel like it has like kind of a renaissance. I have not gotten Furybound yet. No spoilers, but Direbound, I ended up giving 4 stars. My biggest issue with this is I feel like everybody said it was like super unique, different, blah, blah, blah. I could not tell you a single unique happening in this entire book. Not with the plot, not with the characters, honestly, not even with the world. A lot of people have said it's like Fourth Wing with direwolves, and like it is literally Fourth Wing with direwolves. It also had a touch of like Game of Thrones plagiarism, I thought. Like one of the characters' names is Stark and our main girl's name is Meryn, as in Sir Meryn Trent. You literally took 2 names from Game of Thrones. Not common ones from like every other book. Like if you were to pick like Sam, I wouldn't be like, wow, you plagiarized Game of Thrones. I pretty much predicted everything that was going to happen in this. It was enjoyable. But again, if you are like at all familiar with like common romantasy tropes, they're all in here. This is like trope city. Not my all-time favorite, but I did have a great ride reading it. So 4 stars. I'm keeping this one. Next up, we're going to talk about this trilogy that I finished, which is Defy the Night as the first book, followed by Defend the Dawn, followed by Destroy the Day. I gave every single one of these books 4 stars. Defy the Night, if you like Spark of the Everflame, you will like this book. I think Bridget Kemmerer has such a unique brain, and she's so good at writing good books. Defend the Dawn introduced a love triangle element, and they were on like a boat the whole time. Those are 2 things that will always work for me, even if I like hate one of the people, which I didn't hate the other guy in this one. And then you've got Destroy the Day, which I thought was a really good conclusion and introduced a couple of other characters that I really liked. So altogether, I think all of these it's a really solid YA romantasy, I guess, technically fantasy, but there is a lot of romance in here. Enough, I would say that it's like half and half. Really enjoyed and highly recommend this series. Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This was one of my first reads of the month. This was also my only 5-star fantasy read of the month, which is rare for me because that's usually my favorite genre. This is the Fairy Loot edition. It's of course gorgeous. If you want to see the naked cover, looks like that. This was like Prison Healer meets Dagger in the Flame meets Hogwarts with like dark academia and some romance. I think this was like a solid 4-star read for me up until the last percent, and then it skyrocketed to a 5-star. Some things in here were predictable, but the end had me in a chokehold. Felt like it was fun and fresh and different and so good. Like I feel like I've been very jaded by romantasy recently, and this unjaded me. I would say like the rest of my romantasy reads this month re-jaded me, but this one was really good. I would recommend it for anybody if you enjoy romantasy, and I'm very excited to read the sequel. That is Arcana Academy. All of my 5-star reads are in like a row in this stack, so I'm gonna shuffle them. Next book up is Vesseless by Courtney L. Wynn. I was very familiar with Courtney L. Wynn because I started following her before she even indie published this book, and now we have Moonlight Book Box editions, and it's traditionally published. She's so sweet, incredible, great author. I ended up giving this one 3 stars, and it's not because I didn't like it, because I did. It's kind of like a ghost romantasy, which we don't see a lot of, and I thought the magic system and like world building was very interesting. I didn't really love either of the main characters, which made it really hard to like care about what was happening to them, and the plot did lag in places. I'm kind of thinking that like the timing didn't help me because again, I just said I'm in a romantasy slump, and I feel like if I wasn't, this would have hit a lot better. So I'm not getting rid of it. This is, like I said, the Moonlight edition. It's signed, and I also had an Allurial edition, so that's the one that I sold. But I'm keeping this one for now, and I think it's really beautiful, but I hope I get out of the slump. Let's do another 5-star. This is actually my favorite read of the month. This was so unexpected, and I thought I would like this one, but I didn't know I would love it as much as I did. This is The Odds of You by Kate Dramis. What an absolute banger of a book. I read this while I was in my luteal phase, and I was just like crying buckets of mascara just streaming down my face. Like it was an experience. My favorite type of contemporary romance are contemporary romance plus some other theme. Like I love an Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry, something that's a Caraba Stone, something that's dealing with something like deep on top of the romance. I loved Theo and Sage, both of our MCs. They were incredible. This has like an element of celebrity romance, which is not normally something I go for, but it really worked here between like a movie star and an author. It also takes place a lot in Scotland. You can see the Old Man of Storr right here because we're on the Isle of Skye, in Portree for a lot of it, and I have been to Portree multiple times. It's one of my favorite places, so it was just fun to be back like in that setting. There was a lot of really real like conflict and hurt and personal growth with these characters, and I didn't feel like miscommunication played a huge part of it, and I always appreciate when that's the case. I'd compare this to like an Ashley Poston without the magical realism, I think, in tone, or like an Abby Jimenez would probably be a close comparison too. So if you like either of those authors, I think you would love this. I really did, and I'm so glad I read it. Probably needless to say I'm keeping that one. Next book is Half City by Kate Golden. This is the other one that I had 2 editions of. This is the Moonlight edition, which I love, and then I also had a Fairy Loot one, and that's the one that I sent my friend Maddie. I gave this one 3 stars. I did go back and forth on this rating because I had a really good time reading this. It was really entertaining, but I felt like there was just a lot of like dumb elements to it. I was buddy reading this with one of my best friends, Magali, and she said that it was like the CW of books in the sense that like we're hunting demons, but like we're doing it in heels and a mini skirt, and like we are in love with our demon professor who's like hot, but also we have a boyfriend who sort of sucks, and like it just felt kind of teeny bopper in like a cheesy way to me. I would say it gives like Ninth House meets Mortal Instruments meets Wren in the Holly Library, kind of all as a CW show. I think she's very spot on about that. I kind of got like Pretty Little Liars vibes from it, where you're like, this is so fun and I can't look away, but like, what is this? Like, what am I watching? I also felt like the world building was a little bit lacking for everything that was going on. And overall, I don't think this will stick with me for like a long time, but I did like it enough to like keep reading. So we'll see where this ends up. I am keeping this one for now. Look at how beautiful this book is, honestly. Next up, this one is Modern Divination by Issa Agajanian. I also gave this one 3 stars. It was giving nothing. I think I could have really enjoyed these characters and this romance with like a smidge of actual plot, but it just felt a lot of I hate you when you like secretly know that they don't hate each other at all, and like things were supposed to be happening but we're just like hanging out, literally like hanging out. I think I like expected slightly more academia vibe, and I'm also so bummed because this is literally one of like the prettiest books that I own, but I don't think I'm ever gonna read this book again, and I don't really want to continue. So this is one that's going to go up on my Pango. Hopefully somebody wants it and will like it better than I did. The author had an author's note in the front of the Owl Crate edition, and she described this as an indulgence of a story, and I have to agree with her too. This felt very much like she was just busy indulging, and I wish she would have indulged in some plot points, but anyway, that's where we're at. So that was Modern Divination by Issa Agajanian. I feel like I'm hitting you guys with a lot of 3 stars at once, but next up is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer. I don't really know how you say her name. Also 3 stars. I think I, in addition to not liking magical realism, don't really like cozy fantasy, which a lot of cozy fantasy and magical realism kind of overlap. So I don't know what that says about me, but I like some pain, some grit, some action, some adventure, and this just kind of felt like Willy Wonka fan fiction, and I didn't want to read Willy Wonka fan fiction. This does have some really good adoption and like foster care rep, which I did really appreciate because not a lot of books write that very well. I am an adoptee. My family was a foster family for a very long time, and my brother was adopted. He was my foster brother first, and now he's my brother. So that means a lot to me. As a whole, not a slam dunk of a book for me. That's The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer. I'm not gonna go into like too much more about it, but yeah, Willy Wonka fanfic with like a splash of Phantom Tollbooth. That was this book. This is going on my Pango. I'm sure I made it seem like something you'd want to read. Next up, oh my gosh, I'm doing like all my 3 stars right now. Oh, just kidding. I'm not doing all my 3 stars right now because this one was 2 stars. This is The Many Daughters of Afong Moy by Jamie Ford. This one has been on my shelves for forever, literally forever. I think it's a good book for someone who's like not me. The writing was great. I just didn't care about anything that was going on. I felt like the plot lines jumped around way too much for me to keep track of. I did start this one tandem reading and then pivoted to just audio because I wasn't really that interested in it, and I think that might have been a mistake. It might have been easier for me to keep track of everything if I had it in print. It felt like magical realism, like LARPing as sci-fi. I didn't love that. It reminded me a lot of The Measure by Nikki Erlich, which I know a lot of people liked, but I didn't, and so that's a negative for me. But if that's a book that you liked, you might like this one, and it's got like kind of more of that historical, like generational saga element. That's Many Daughters of Afong Moy. This will be available on Pango. We are getting really long for one of my videos, but we're almost there. We got like 5 books left after these 2. So this is a duology. This is Saga of the Unfated, A Fate Inked in Blood and A Curse Carved in Bone, both by Danielle L. Jensen. I'm not done with Bridge Kingdom, but I really love the Bridge Kingdom. So I had really high hopes for this book because I also really love like Scandinavian and like Norse mythology. These let me down. I thought that A Fate Inked in Blood would give me a 4-star until like I started feeling like the FMC was just so stupid and making like such consistently stupid decisions that I kind of lost respect for the MMC for like even being in love with her. Super predictable plot. The world building was interesting, and there were characters that I liked, but like the FMC wasn't one of them. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars, and then this one got 2 stars because everything went downhill. Was just really bored during this book, and I feel like I kept waiting for something to happen, but it was again sort of similar to Modern Divination. I felt like everybody was like, oh my gosh, we hate each other, let's make out about it, which wasn't really a like convincing way to show me that you hate each other. I just really wanted some resolution, otherwise I think I would have DNF'd this, and I don't really DNF books. So that is the Saga of the Unfated. If you're looking for like Norse mythology and you want like a romantasy vibe but also want really good plot and world building, I would head on over to Road of Bones because I think this walked slash crawled slash was born so that Road of Bones could frickin' run. Road of Bones is amazing. Try that one instead. These will both be available on Pango. Next up, I'm gonna give you another 5-star banger. This is Promise Me Sunshine by Carrie Bastone. Most of you know that I am a huge Carrie Bastone fan. This is only my second book by her, and I remain a huge Carrie Bastone fan. I don't know what it says about me, but like I really love a grief book. I feel like Carrie Bastone does grief really well. This was so lovely. I really liked Lenny and Miles so much, and I found their journey to each other to be really like sweet and authentic and genuine. I also really loved Ainsley, and sometimes kids give me like a hard time in books. Carrie Bastone just doesn't miss for me, and this is one of my favorite book covers of the entire year. Absolutely love it. I'm not going to give you a lot more than that, but basically Lenny's best friend passes away, and Miles has had some family deaths, and so he's basically helping her through her walk with grief. Amazing. You'll love it. Pick it up. Let's do my last 5-star next. This one was kind of unexpected for me, which was fun because I am so happy I loved it. This is 1-Star Romance by Laura Hankin. This is my first Laura Hankin. I have since learned that a lot of people are huge Laura Hankin fans. I was not one of them because I didn't know. No one told me. This is an excellent read if you're a very big fan of like really strong A, B, and C plots. No stupid third act breakups, a pretty slow burn, strong female friendships, and like life over time. This occurred over a number of years. This had a similar-ish premise to like the rom-commers by Catherine Center with like a splash of the X-Files by Jessica Joyce. I would say it would be like if a more kind of like serious writer like a Carrie Bastone or Emily Henry wrote it. Not Emily Henry, sorry, Ellen Hildebrand. That's what I was thinking of. I would be very interested in reading more about this. Basically, the guy gives the girl a 1-star rating on her book. Their best friends are married, so they meet because they're maid of honor. I don't know if they meet because of that or if they just like reconnect because of that. I think it's reconnecting. I don't remember. Obviously, I didn't pay a lot of attention to the details, but it's really good. Absolutely love this one. I will say there were a lot of pretty significant triggers in here, so if you are a sensitive reader at all, I would look those up before jumping into this. One of those being Cancer. That's 1-Star Romance by Laura Hankin. Next, we got to talk about the next 3 together. Honestly, I wish that I had finished the next one besides these also, but I didn't. So here we are. First up, we've got These Violent Delights and Our Violent Ends. These are set in Shanghai in the 1920s after kind of like it's pretty far after the aftermath of the Opium Wars. There is a big communist presence in China, and we are kind of doing a Romeo and Juliet retelling between the heirs of rival gangs. One of them is Chinese and one of them is Russian, and they're both based in Shanghai. Chloe Gong is an incredible writer. She does such a good job with these. I had such a good time reading these. This book walked, so this book could run. Romeo and Juliet are truly like 2 of my favorite characters. I gave 4 stars to both of these. As a series, I really loved these. They didn't hit that like 5-star potential for me, but I still loved them. Then fast forward about 10 years or 5 or a different number that I don't remember. You get Foul Lady Fortune. If you're gonna read this one, there's a short story called The Priest and the Shepherd, which technically takes place before this. I did read that. That is the novella that I don't have a physical copy of. I think I gave it 3 stars. Just it's a short story. It's not even a novella. It's a short story. You can get it for free on the Simon Teen website, but I think it's only up until July. So go snag it quickly if you want. And then Foul Lady Fortune follows Juliet's cousin, Rosalind. It is an As You Like It retelling. So really Chloe Gong is just like playing with these Shakespeare retellings, and I love that for her. And so this one is kind of, because now we're in the 1930s, we're sort of like getting the like leading into World War II tension between the Chinese and the Japanese specifically, and the Japanese like occupation of China. So good. And then I also read Foul Heart Huntsman. Okay, so you're gonna read The Priest and the Shepherd, which is a short story if you want to. Then that introduces 2 new characters that get involved in this. And then you're gonna read Foul Lady Fortune, and then you're gonna read the novella collection, which has 2 novellas in it. The collection itself is called Last Violent Call, and the first novella is about Romeo and Juliet, so you obviously have to read that because you miss them and love them. And the second one is about Benedict and Marshall, who you love possibly even more from this duology, and I'm gonna cry thinking about it. So cute, love them. And then you're gonna read Foul Heart Huntsman, where the whole gang is back together again, and you're going to sob tears of delight because you love it so much. Yeah, this is a criminally underrated series, so I guess technically it's like 6 books, but really 4 main books, and you will so not be sorry that you read anything. I think you could skip The Priest and the Shepherd. I would not skip Last Violent Call. Read Last Violent Call, but those were all 4 stars for me. Love them though. We're finally done. Well, that took a very long time, but that is everything I read in the month of May. Hopefully I read less in June because that was honestly ridiculous. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully we will still have people that watch till the end because that was a lot. Let me know if you read any of these books, and go check out my Pango shop if you want any of the ones that I'm getting rid of. Thanks so much for watching.